You're listening to Galaxy of Film.
Alright guys, welcome back to Galaxy of Film, and I'm of course your host Max, joined with my co-host here, none other than Dakari. How are you doing, man?
I'm good, man. Just making it day by day. How about yourself?
Absolutely the same as what I would be saying. But Dakari, today is just no ordinary day, dude. Today is the start of Season 4 of Galaxy of Film. So a special welcome to our listeners here at Season 4. We've got some really cool and unique changes coming to the show this season. Can't wait for you guys to kind of see where we're going to take things going on in the future. Stay tuned for what we have obviously coming up soon for this. But check out last week's episode. If you kind of want to have like a deep dive dissection into what all is changing, check out last week's episode. You know what? That's enough catching up though, dude. We're going to go ahead and dive straight into this. Dakari, what's been new for you the last week, dude? You're back as the co-host this week now, finally. It's been like 3 years since you were co-host on the podcast full time. Obviously, you came back here and there to fill in the seat. How are you feeling, bro?
I do feel pretty good. I'm just honestly, besides school shit, being tired every damn day. I'm still trying to make all that good stuff. Besides the podcast and stuff, I'm in the early stages of production for a student film I have to shoot for class. I'm just trying to get people together for it, and that's really all I've been occur as of lately.
I got you, dude. I got you. And for our listeners, in case you're not already familiar with past seasons and us talking about this further, Dakari, obviously you've got Man of the House coming up, your directorial debut. Our listeners aren't prepared, dude, because they don't realize that not only is number 2 ready, but you're working on number 3 already, dude, which is absolutely crazy. So.
Yeah, I'm working on number 3. This is the third short film that I'm about to work on, which is to think about. But yeah, that's what it is.
Yeah, dude, making your way through it. Cannot wait. Of course, like we mentioned last season as well, we just shot my newest short film, which you're also a producer on, which is called Would You Like Fries of That? We do have an Instagram and a GoFundMe going for that film down below. It's called @FriesMovie, or the GoFundMe is just a straight link down below too, and also it supports our other film going on called Project News. We'll talk a bit more about those things later on during our full announcements for this episode. But yeah, dude, season 4, I'm pumped. I'm excited for this, man. I'm glad we've had a chance to put some new life, some new juice into this podcast, if you will. Obviously, for our listeners who are long term with us, you, Dakari, have been, one of the founding members of both this company and this podcast. So it's cool to not only be able to put new life into the show after years and years of doing it, but being able to literally have it be so authentic to have when the originals come back and do it is, of course, a really rewarding thing. Feels like we're on like a comeback tour, a legacy sequel, dude, but we're still young, so I don't fucking know.
Something like that.
Oh, goodness, man. But for our episode this week, guys, starting off with season 4, because like I said, we're doing things different, we're discussing great reboots this week. And not only great reboots, but great reboots from like the 2000s, early 2000s, technically mid 2000s.
Early 2000s. Early 2000s.
It's kind of crazy. We're talking about Batman Begins and Casino Royale, which is of course the reboot for the Dark Knight series, the Dark Knight trilogy, which is the foundation for that series, and for the James Bond franchise as well, which is something you don't really see within the Bond series, which is like a proper reboot and like a new beginning, if you will. They all kind of blend together and not really end, except for these Craig movies. And we'll kind of discuss what that means going with that series, throughout the entirety of it. But for our listeners as well, in case you do want to hear some of our older thoughts on the James Bond stuff, we have not talked about any of the direct sequels to Casino Royale, except for No Time to Die, which is the finale in that little saga with Daniel Craig. So link down below if you want to listen to that episode before this. That was an episode Danilo and I did back in like season 2, just to give some context, because this is the first time I've watched this movie since I've seen No Time to Die, and I've seen the conclusion of this storyline. So yeah, feel free to go back and watch that or listen to the episode if you want. But yeah, speaking of watching episodes too, dude, let's go ahead and talk about some of the announcements and changes we have going on currently. For our listeners, if you're only listening to this on iTunes, Spotify, or our website directly, you're hearing this at Thursday morning if you're one of those daily upload listeners. But if you're on YouTube, you're watching this on Saturday. So hello to YouTube for seeing our weekly podcast for the first time. Nice to finally be over here. We've had, obviously, our celebrity guest episodes on this platform before, and some of our other special ones, but mainly the Galaxy Film Live episodes we've done. I don't even know how many times, dude. So now we got those chilling over here on YouTube. Obviously, we got the new background music, the new podcast distributor going on, too. Like, we got tons of new shit going on, dude. And also some things coming on that's new, too. If you're in the North Carolina area, specifically in Raleigh, my film, the film that Naima produced, the film that Dakari did some music on, Tyler did some music on, that we all came together and did some really incredible work on, called is officially playing at the 5 Points Film Festival at the Rialto Historic Theater in Raleigh at 5 Points this weekend. Specifically playing on Friday night, which is really cool. We got the biggest slot available. I think we're in slot number 3 of the night, which is really fun. So come out and support us. Check out the film if you've enjoyed it. Come out and see it on the big screen. If you haven't seen it before, just come out and come see some independent film. It's not just us there. Also, funny enough, Dakari, I'm glad you're here for this too. A couple weeks ago, whenever we did Superman, we had like Maverick, Lily, and Sean on here. Sean, for our listeners, is also in the same film festival. So congratulations to them going on over there too. I believe they're playing Thursday night. So if you want to see some other people that are affiliated with Galaxy of Film, pop out on Thursday to support, and then Friday come out and see us there as well. We'll all be there in the flesh, Naima and I, support and representing this film. So yeah, that's at the 5 Points Film Festival this Friday in Raleigh, North Carolina. But also, dude, we do, like I mentioned earlier, have the GoFundMe and the Instagram page going on for Fries to kind of help support that film. Like I mentioned earlier, too, the GoFundMe does cover our other film, currently titled Project News, which is a film that I'm writing with my girlfriend, Caitlin Simpson, as well. So stay tuned. Just see stuff. We're going to have some cool updates going on to GoFundMe. We're gathering all the behind-the-scenes footage and pictures we took so we can go ahead and give you guys some consistent updates. I know it's been a little bit dry right now. Just stay tuned. We got a lot of awesome stuff coming. And follow the Fries page for more updates going forward. But let's go ahead, Dakari, and before we even talk about the podcast polls this week and hear what our listeners have to say about these awesome reboots, let's talk news this week, dude. And I'm really curious to hear some of your thoughts on these. Now, first and foremost, Dakari, are you a fan of the Rambo series at all? Like, or do you like those movies?
I haven't seen all of them. I've only seen, I want to say, the 4th one and the most recent one. I haven't really seen all of them.
Really? You've watched the worst ones. All right.
I mean, it wasn't that bad. I mean, it was fine.
Yeah, the 2007 one, the one's called just Rambo. That one's good. Yeah. That one's really gory. Yeah. But like, it's not like that one great. That one's
like a horror movie.
Almost, it is. It does do, especially like it has that kind of like. There's a lot of movies between like 2004 and like 2008 that just have this like yellow kind of weird, drawn out kind of like life sucked out of them look to it, and it's always super grainy and the camera's shaking like crazy. Rambo looks like one of those movies for sure, dude. Like, I don't know what about it. It looks kind of like the Rob Zombie Halloween movie for a little bit.
Didn't Sylvester Stallone direct that?
I think he did, yes. I think that's the only one he's directed so far. No, excuse me. He did do Last Blood, because that was...
No, he didn't do Last Blood. He didn't do it. That was Adrian Grunberg. I think he wrote it, though.
Then he did the Apple TV director's cut. That's like the extra half hour or something, if I'm not mistaken. There's a Rambo's Last Blood director's cut, dude. Like an unrated
I didn't even
cut.
know that.
Yeah, because it was supposed to make up how it's not... I hate that last movie. Last Blood's awful, dude. It's supposed to add like 15 minutes or something to it.
Okay.
10 minutes added to it. I'm not seeing who directed this version, so you might be right. It might not be Stallone after all. But point being, though, it was around the time whenever the Rocky IV cut was coming out. It was whenever he pitched the Rocky v. Drago thing, because he was kind of upset about whatever studio going forward with doing the Creed spinoffs and doing the Drago spinoff too. And shortly after, he did the whole, we're gonna do a director's cut or an extended cut of Rambo: Last Blood, and it was also shit. I heard, dude, that whole movie's just garbage. But it's interesting. You've only seen the first, or only the last two of them. Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So as someone who's only caught the tail end of this franchise, if you will, let me hear your thoughts on this, dude. We're getting a new Rambo movie, but we're not just getting a new Rambo movie. It's a prequel. And it's starring someone I've never heard of, Noah Centineo.
Okay.
Had some stuck in my throat for that, but yeah, I don't know who that is. I don't know what's up with this, other than it's a young Rambo film. What are your thoughts on this, dude?
Do you know if Sylvester Stallone is going to be behind it?
Not at this time, from what I've seen. To me, I kind of wonder if it's in the same ballpark as like Creed 3, because like obviously we've known there's been always the rights issues with the Rocky franchise, and while Stallone has been like a creative force and a head in that series, he hasn't had like full control to say like we're not doing a sequel. And so after Creed 2 was done, and he was like, I don't want to do anymore, and whatever studio head is like, no, we're going to be doing like 4 or 5 more Creeds, and we're doing a Drago spinoff, and we might do another spinoff. Who knows? We're going to keep doing this. We're going to keep milking it. That's when Stallone kind of had his dramatic exit from the third film. It was like, fuck it, we're going to do the Rocky 4 cut instead, because I'm going to make the better Drago movie, which is really weird. I'm sure you saw his Instagram posts about Creed 3 as it was coming out. It was just weird, dude. I don't know. So I don't know if it's in the same kind of like weird niche where we're just like doing it without Stallone's consent or anything. I only know that this is a young Rambo film with a new guy starring in it. I think that's all it's out so far.
I don't know, man. I gotta watch the rest of them to really kind of get invested. But I mean, if anything, I know this for sure. If they're gonna do anything Rambo, Stallone has to be involved.
Yeah,
That's just how I look at it.
I agree,
I mean,
dude.
'cause they already kicked out Stallone from the Creed movies, which honestly I do think Creed 3 is pretty good, but you can def his absence from that movie, and it's just like with all the crazy stuff that's happened behind the scenes with that, it's just like okay, like it was good, but I don't want that to keep happening. I don't want, the original gatekeepers of franchises to be left out all the time. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Same thing with George Lucas and Star Wars. Like, I mean, that'd be different because I don't think George Lucas is coming back. But it's just like, it's happening a lot. We don't need to keep that same old shit happening, you know?
Yeah, I feel you, dude. I feel you. I don't know. I'm a little torn on this. I love the first. It feels weird to say I love the first Rambo movie. He's just killing cops. He's just killing people in this one.
I
Like
ain't seen it.
it's
No.
it's the first one's a great movie. Don't get me wrong. Like it's just him just defending himself nonstop. But like it's just a really violent movie. And the second one, it's kind of sad seeing that like how he's arrested in the first one for his actions, and he's kind of put in like one of those like labor camps. What's the old trope where it's kind of like when you have the like a Looney Tunes prisoner and they're in the courtyard with the pickaxe and a ball and chain, and they're having a mine or whatever. He's basically put in one of those situations and is like, yo, you got to fight for your freedom. You got to go back to Vietnam and go save the colonel that he served. Jesus, dude, I can't even fucking talk today. To go save the colonel that he served with. And that's cool. Like, it sets up the plot, obviously. But what I like about that one is to see kind of like the struggle of Stallone, because with going back to Vietnam. Like, he gives this one delivery of his line where he's like, are we going to go back? Are we going to go win? Are we going to win this time? And when the movie, obviously when it was filmed, it was a lot closer to Vietnam and all that. That movie particularly, you can kind of feel like some of the open wounds that are left from the Vietnam War within pop culture, which is really interesting. And like, I don't find a lot of movies that kind of handle that well. You know, like I'm not going into to some like to Rambo 2 to watch Apocalypse Now, obviously, where it's a Vietnam theme
Mm.
thing. Like it's very much like, all right, we're in the midst of the war. This is a thing. Because Rambo 2, it's like a covert mission. Like he's going back to Vietnam, of course, but he's just trying to save this one guy and get the fuck back out. So I
Mm.
like the sequel because it has those struggles and it's like that weird fine line of it too. The third one's where he's in like Afghanistan or Iraq or somewhere in the Middle East. I couldn't tell you, dude. I only seen that one a handful of times on like DVD. That one's nuts. That's the one everyone parodies, like Weird Al parody in UHF, doing the whole like "Oh!" the helicopters and shit.
Mhm.
So I feel like when everyone thinks of Rambo, they always think of the third because that's the most Rambo 3, and then later years later on, once they made the fourth one, which is really up in the fucking ante, of course, just on like 1,000. Rainbow 3 is the most like an action movie, genuinely. It feels most like a for beat, like a Die Hard, if you will, kind of going from there. So, like, with us going backwards of Rambo, because I really, really hated that fifth one, I don't know. Like, it has me interested, but, like, I'm kind of just done. Like, this series has ended 3 times already. Like they go have their like last crusade moment where they ride off into the sunset in 3, and then in 4 he goes home finally, and then in 5 he's home and then dies and rides off into the fucking mountain. It's just what the hell is going on with this dude? I don't know. Will I see it? Probably, because I like the character. It's one of those kind of things. Like I'm if it's a train wreck, I'll just have to be there to watch the train wreck. But like I don't know. Part of me really thinks that like this is just going to either be scrapped or be so low budget this ends up just on a streaming platform. It reminds me a little bit. I hate to say it, of like the Walker Texas Rangers CW series, dude, that we were talking about when we first
Mm.
started this podcast. So I don't know,
Mm.
man. That's
I forgot about that, man.
yeah. That's kind of my thoughts on a Rambo prequel. Like I don't know why we need this. I'm cool with it though, but it is what it is, you know. But let's move on to our next piece of news, because this one, dude, I'm just absolutely shocked and appalled by. Yeah, former Superman actor. This is from a Superman show in the '90s, I believe. I think it was like from '92 to something. My Adventures of
Oh
Superman.
man.
Dean Cain, the guy who plays Clark Kent himself, the man in the tights, the Man of Steel, decided to run his fucking mouth for whatever reason on Twitter, True Social, who fucking knows what platform, and announced that he just wants to go ahead and join ICE, dude. That like Superman, the illegal immigrant Superman, like the guy who comes here and tries to blend in with humanity and become one of us and studies like he's joining ICE. That's fucking nuts.
Wants to join ICE or he's joined
He's
ICE
he
already?
is joining ICE. He is voluntarily joining ICE. Is like the whole. I don't know if you can. I don't fucking know, dude. I didn't know. All I had to do was make a tweet and say I could fucking join a task force. You know what I'm saying? So like, I don't know what kind of pull this guy has. I don't know if this is a real thing. I don't know what's. I know it's a real thing. It's a real thing he requested to do. It says he wants to do. You know, but like, I don't know other than stirring up some stirring up the pot basically, and that whole conversation. What this does. But let's just under the assumption that because this is a guy who has played Superman, and because we're in this political climate that we are already, that we've already, you know, I've just been absolutely fucked on it for the last year. It feels like almost and we've only been here for 8 months, which is crazy. But I feel like just because he is a Superman actor, that this could go through, and that this is something that could happen. How are you feeling about this, Dakari?
This shit is a fucking joke.
Yeah, dude.
I really hope this is a joke because when I saw that, I was just like, there's no way that this makes any amount of fucking sense. Like, I lost brain cells reading about this. Like, there's no way that he's actually recording himself telling telling the masses that he's joining ICE.
Yeah, Yeah, that's
and
exactly what he's doing.
posting it on social media and all the platforms so everybody can see. There's no way that he's doing that. So a part of me is thinking like, okay, this is a joke because Superman came out. The political climate is very, hectic and chaotic right now with Trump and Epstein and all that shit. So I would expect something like this to be a joke off rip, and I really hope it is because this makes absolutely no goddamn sense to me. It just does not. You look stupid, bro. If this is not a joke, you look fucking stupid. I hope you're listening to this, Dean Kane. If this is legit, you look stupid.
Yeah, yeah,
If
dude.
it's legit,
I I'm just amazed at this. I'm amazed. I'm not a big Superman fan. You know what I'm saying? I feel like as of
me
lately,
neither.
towards the end of season 3 of the podcast, I've really become a bit more of a Superman fan. From rewatching some of the classic films, then watching the 2025 film. Um, but it just blows my mind how you become you have the chance to place one of the most iconic and important characters of all time. Whether or not you like comic books or anything with that art format, like, you cannot deny that it is, at the end of the day, art, and at the end of the day, one of the biggest forms of art of all time at this point. There are some of these characters on these pages and on the screen are some of the most recognizable people in the world and in history, arguably. You know what I'm saying? Like, you may not be able to recognize and go over the list of the last 10 presidents, but I guarantee you ask a guy in their 20s, they could tell you every actor who's played Batman, Super, like, they can go through the list, you know what I'm saying? Like, we can go ahead and have those kind of things, and Superman is one of those characters. And with Superman's biggest thing, like, being obviously, like, the beacon of hope that he is, it's just
Yeah.
absolutely mind blowing to hear an absolute bigot like this come out of that dude. Like, that, I don't know. I don't know. Like, how I always made the defense of, like, how my argument about how I don't like Last Jedi, about how, like, Luke Skywalker's not hopeful, it's out of character and all that. This is this, like, that was taken to a literal standpoint and, like, flipped, where we have the hopeful character and the actor just doesn't match any of that. You know what I'm saying? And it's just an absolute disgrace, not only for the name and the character of Superman, the legacy of that, but for this as a fucking human being, dude. I don't get it. I don't get it from a principle standpoint, from a very baseline standpoint. Number one, but number two, for you to have a title like that and to be literally in that series and that continuity in that television show, you are the world's biggest alien, dude. And this is what you want to
Literally, bro.
fucking post about with a smile on your face, dog? It's absolutely mind blowing, and the people are fierce about it. I've seen, like, Jamie Lee Curtis post all pissed off about this, dude. Jean Leguizamo's been posting about this shit. It's
I
it's
saw John
everywhere.
Leguizamo, but Jamie Lee Curtis said something about it, and when Jamie Lee Curtis don't and says anything, she don't really say nothing.
Yeah,
But
dude.
for her to come out and say something, it's a problem.
Yeah, I, I don't know, man. It's something else for sure. I'm just disgusted.
Oh
This is even a
God,
conversation we're having. To be honest with you,
oh
like,
God. I hope it's a joke. I just hope it's a joke.
I was so
Cause
too, but holy fuck.
like, what smart person would legitimately go? I mean, cause I'm not even supporting or backing any of this. Like, if that is something that is actually happening to you, if you are joining a group like ICE, why would you go to the internet and reveal that you are joining ICE? Why would you do that?
I couldn't fucking tell you, dude.
Why would you do that?
I don't know,
That's
dude.
not that's not that type of situation.
I don't know,
It's
dude.
supposed to be some type of tactical, confidential type shit, and you're going to the internet. I hope this is a joke. I swear to God, because you don't see anybody else, any normal sane person, go to the internet and reveal to the public like they are joining ICE.
Yeah,
I've
you
never
think?
seen that. I never seen.
You
So
would think, dude.
I hope this is a joke. I hope, because this is absurd, man.
Yeah, dude, I don't fucking know. All I know is fuck you, Dean Cain. Hopefully you just get your shit rocked,
Hey,
dude, because that's crazy.
if this is legit, yeah, you look fucking stupid, bro, and I hope you get everything that's coming to you.
Yeah.
Seriously, bro.
Some people just need their ass beat one time, dude. You know what I'm saying? And that's
Man,
that's that's what that sounds like to me.
that's all. That's literally it, bro. I agree with you on that because that's the problem now. People don't get their asses whooped enough, especially growing up.
Yeah, dude. God damn.
Like, come on, bro.
Oh, jeez, man. Let's go ahead and move on from news this week, Dakari. Before we talk about our new segment here of season 4, which is podcast polls, I do want to go ahead and draw attention on one other thing real quick on something I had the privilege of doing this past weekend. I made a trip up to Jersey, dude, to Smod Castle, to Red Bank, I believe it's called, up where Kevin Smith lives, and then all of the town that he films in for all of his productions, really. You know, where I saw the Quick Stop and all that, which is awesome. But I went to Smod Castle Theater, which is his theater, excuse me, for the film festival, the 4th annual Smod Castle Film Fest, to support our bud Joe Black over at Blue Means Pregnant Films for his newest feature, I Don't Know. Dude, holy shit! I've talked about this film before, Dakar. I've talked about it on the podcast. I've talked about it off screen 100 seems. I love this thing to death, dude. And to seeing it on the big screen for the first time was such a privilege. Seeing in this environment was so cool. Congratulations to Joe and everyone at Blue Means Pregnant Films. Congratulations to Kat. Everyone who's worked on this film, just congratulations on it. It's truly a beautiful piece of art. Yeah, I just want to go ahead and bring attention to that real quick because it was really cool to see that in Jersey, dude. I drove 10 hours to see a movie, which is fucking nuts.
Crazy, man. Crazy, man. And you know what? It's nice that he invited you too.
Hell yeah,
Seriously.
dude.
You know, and I can finally speak on it because I've watched it maybe like a couple weeks ago, and you kept hyping this shit up, and I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna watch it. Even Joe sent me the link to watch it and everything, and I told myself, okay, I'm gonna finally sit down and watch this movie. And I'm glad I did because it's so fucking beautiful. It is such a beautiful film. Like it's one of those movies that it's gonna warrant many more rewatches because it feels like one of those movies that if you watch it multiple times you'll pick up on something new each time. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying? Like I feel like that's one of those movies. Like this is a movie that like if Ralph Bakshi directed Who Framed Roger Rabbit, this is exactly what it would be. Almost. You know what I'm saying? Like see how I feel about this movie, and kudos to Joe Black for making such a singular vision. I gotta see what else he does because this was brilliant, dude.
Absolutely, dude. Absolutely. Couldn't have said it better.
This was brilliant.
But let's go ahead and listen to what our listeners have to say this week, dude, about our two films. Like I mentioned, we're talking about some great reboots this week, Batman Begins and Casino Royale. So first of all, we did ask just straight up off the bat to our audience, which of the reboots do you like better? According to the members of the Facebook fan club, which you can see all of our films in there a little bit early, sometimes some behind the scenes stuff, some giveaways information in there too on Facebook. We have 100% of the poll with 3 voters saying Batman Begins, which is pretty funny. Okay, we got Joe Black actually commenting with the South Park meme in the bottom because I know he doesn't like either film, funny enough.
That's interesting. Okay,
We do
that's
have
very interesting.
71% of our audience over on Threads says Batman Begins, with 29 saying Casino Royale. Nobody voted on
Okay.
Blue Sky, so what the hell, Blue Sky? And then over on YouTube, we are cut 50-50 between the two. Now, Dakari, over on our Instagram stories, if you want to go ahead and pull that up, we asked our audience members what their thoughts were on Batman Begins in general, kind of hyper-focusing on that one specific film. Do you want to read out some of the answers we have from our audience members for us for that?
Yeah, pull it up right quick. Hold on.
Okay, dude, gotta love being prepared here, buddy.
Yeah, you know, I got it. So let me see. One person says that they haven't seen it yet. It's been 20 years.
20 years, 20 years.
No, yeah, one person says it's a great movie. Feels kind of separate from the Dark Knight films.
Okay.
We said, yeah, visually for sure, and I agree, definitely visually. Holds up really well, and the PS game is crazy. You know what? I completely forgot about that PS2 game.
Dude, the PS2 game is
That's
incredible.
crazy.
The PS2 game is
Yeah, that's
solid, dude. The
crazy.
fear meter and shit.
Yeah, Yeah, that's crazy. Okay, somebody from our crew says no one cares about it, so I don't care. Hmm. Gee, oh, gee, I wonder why. I said it's a goddamn masterpiece. In my opinion, this is my favorite Batman movie.
Oh, okay. We'll get into it. We'll get into it. Keep reading the answers though.
We'll get into it. We'll get into it. Logan says it's underrated. Just underrated, okay? And Eggnog underscore Jackson says succeeds in establishing the Nolan franchise, but ruins superhero aesthetics for 10 years.
Ooh.
Hmm.
Oh.
Okay. That's
Okay.
probably how Joe Black feels. That's probably how Joe feels.
Probably, dude. Probably.
Interesting take.
We'll dive into some
Interesting
of that.
take.
We'll dive into it. Hot take, though. I like it, dude. I like it. It's a solid take, to be honest with
Inter
you.
Yeah, I'm not even mad at that at all. I'm not.
Hell yeah, dude.
Okay, cool.
All right, guys. Well, that's gonna go ahead and wrap it up for podcast polls this week. Every Sunday, make sure to tune into our social media to go ahead and let us hear your thoughts on the movies that we're covering up this week. Next week, of course, we're discussing Nobody 2 and Ballerina, so check out the polls for Sunday to let us know your thoughts on those. Dakari, let's go ahead and take a quick little break. We're going to come back from our break and start talking about Batman Begins and Casino Royale so we can begin the reboot talk, dude. So we'll be right back, guys.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Our rating system is inspired by the planets from the Star Wars films. From highest to lowest, this is how we do our rankings. Number 5.
Coruscant. The entire planet is one big city.
Number 4.
Bespin. We're pretty far, but I think we can make it.
Number 3.
Hold me like you did by the lake on Naboo.
Number 2.
Set your course for the Hoth system.
And lastly, number 1.
Back to Why does everyone want to go back to Jakku?
Hey everybody, this is Brandon Messina, and I'm here to give you the stream of the week for this episode of Galaxy of Film. And my pick for this week is 1996's From Dusk Till Dawn. This has got to be one of the most wildest left turns in a movie that I have ever watched. Having started out as a Western crime thriller that by the halfway point turns into a vampire horror action type of flick. It was seriously like watching a baseball game that all of a sudden pivots into a battle royal style wrestling fight out of nowhere. Also, after watching it, I think I truly understand Quentin Tarantino's sexual attraction to feet. This was definitely a solid B-movie style flick that I think lives up to its cult classic status. This has been your Stream of the Week, and let's continue on with the podcast.
Alright guys, we're back from our break. First up this week for our great reboots is Batman Begins. This is, of course, the start to Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy. This came out 2005. And yeah, dude, this is the Batman of our childhood, to be honest with you. We haven't had a chance to talk about these movies before. So good to get ahead and to talk about the first one, of course, Batman Begins. So let's dive right into it. You know, we get the typical backstory of Bruce losing his parents as a young boy. But I get a little bit of a different quote that kind of echoes through our ears this entire trilogy from Thomas Wayne. And Thomas Wayne has a bit more of a presence felt through this backstory, which I really like. Why do we fall, Bruce? To learn to pick ourselves back up. Little Bruce is afraid of bats, of course. He falls in the bat cave as a kid. His dad comes to save him. Because a little tragic backstory. His parents, of course, killed in the back of Crime Alley after the theater one night because Bruce is like, Dad, I'm scared of bats. I gotta go. So, fast forward years later, after Bruce has had so much pent-up vengeance and anger and the lust for revenge to go ahead and to kill the man who killed his parents, he comes back to Gotham City to go ahead and see if that's something he can do and if that's something he can accomplish. After not having the chance to kill his parents' killers, he leaves Gotham for 7 years. He goes missing and goes off to the mountains. And becomes a big fucking hippie, dude. He finds this blue flower. He becomes obsessed with it. I don't know what Bruce Wayne was smoking up there, dude, but he became ripped because of it. He's hanging out with Liam Neeson. He's training like a fucking ninja. He's doing the Karate Kid shit up there. And next thing you know, Bruce Wayne is ready to come back to Gotham because he found out the League of Shadows ran by Ra's al Ghul. Wait, Max. Don't you mean Ra's al Ghul? What are you talking about? Nope, guys. No. In this series, we're doing the same thing that modern people like to do with Jesus Christ. We're whitewashing this shit. So it's Ra's al Ghul in this fucking movie. Yeah, he's not Ra's al Ghul. It's kind of weird, dude. They really stripped that entire League of Shadows, League of Assassins, of like all their heritage in this series, which is really noticeable upon a rewatch. But they're basically like, yo, we gotta cleanse the world, we gotta cleanse Gotham. And Bruce is like, hey, yo, that's not cool. So Bruce goes back to Gotham. He becomes none other than the Batman. He's going ahead, picking up after a little trail, figuring out what's going on in Gotham. Finds out some shady shit going on with a man named Jonathan Crane. Some really important people are ending up and being in the asylum, being declared, insane. So Jonathan Crane's taking care of those. Batman's like, hey, that's not right. He's onto him. Scarecrow attacks the Batman. The whole plan's unveiled because Ra's al Ghul shows up and he does the whole thing where villains just reveal everything. So Scarecrow has poisoned Gotham's water supply. Ra's al Ghul has a microwave evaporator kind of thing, vaporizer, what the fuck. They're putting it on the train. It turns all the water in the water lines to vapor. It'll poison the whole city. That's kind of Batman Begins. Of course, Batman stops Ra's al Ghul. Wayne Manor is, of course, burned down in this. And we get a nice little tease of what's to come in the future with the Joker calling card, the Bat-Symbol being created, Gordon being promoted in this. I don't know, dude. Batman Begins is a very unique origin story film because while like when we start off with things like Batman 1989, if you will, where we go over the origin of Bruce Wayne, it's not a Batman origin story still. It's just a Batman movie that touches on the origin. And I feel like despite us constantly seeing the origin story of Batman, his parents being killed, this is the only film we get where we get the origin of Batman genuinely, and is one of the only superhero movies that like really lands in not only being a good solo film but a good really strong origin film like this. So yeah, we'll kind of dive into what this movie did for other superhero films too. But Dakari, let me hear your thoughts on Batman Begins, because you mentioned this is your favorite out of the Dark Knight trilogy.
This is my favorite Batman movie, period.
Okay, yeah, let me hear your thoughts then, dude. Jeez, that's bold.
Yeah, dude. I feel like, this is like, it's kind of weird because this is essentially like the first Batman movie I watched. Like, when it came on DVD, I remember my dad buying it for me, and I was like, here. He's like, here, watch. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, it's the first live action Batman movie I watched because I grew up watching the animated series. I grew up watching all the crazy cartoons, so that was the first live action Batman movie I saw. And, of course, I was a little bit too young to understand what was happening in the film at that age when I saw it, but, I definitely appreciate the approach to the origin as I got older because, yes, it is the same beat for beat story we're familiar with when it comes to Batman and Bruce Wayne's origin and whatnot, but it's just the way that it's done. It just made it refreshing again. You know what I'm saying? Like, we get into his head not just as Batman, but as Bruce Wayne as a young child.
Yes, we do.
We see where we see where his trauma actually comes from, not just from his family being killed right in front of his eyes, but his fear of bats and where that came from. It was very specific and intentional, not just him falling down an empty well by accident when he was playing with his sister and bats overcrowd him well, but after that incident, going to see an opera with his parent that have human praying bat characters, and that scarred. You can see how that scarred him as a child. You know what I'm saying? And all of that plays into what he eventually becomes in the future. He goes into all this rigorous training, and he forms the Batman persona on his own, and it's all very detailed. And that's one thing I appreciate a lot about this movie compared to the other Batman movies, is that they made the origin story feel fresh for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, the beats were there, the detail, like, I just felt like it felt refreshing, and it made me appreciate Batman more than I already did.
Okay. That's understandable, dude. For me, I don't know. This was... I know I said I don't know a lot when it comes to that regard. This is the Batman that, like, we grew up with. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is our generation's Batman, obviously. But this wasn't the Batman I had figures of or toys of. Like, I had a cousin who had like the Batmobile Tumbler, like 3 3/4 figure set, and all that's great, you know what I'm saying? But like, I was always the Star Wars kid growing up, and that's what my family prioritized, really, the Star Wars action figures over anything else. But like, I had figures and toys of like the animated series Batman, you know. So like,
Yeah, I did too.
when it came to this series, which I was introduced by seeing Dark Knight opening day, like, this was like my mature look into this world, this universe, in this character. So I have a deep respect for this movie, for not only introducing me to the Dark Knight, if you will. Like, you know how there's a clear difference between like Adam West's performance as Batman and Michael Keaton. One's Gotham's bright knight, and one's Gotham's dark knight. That's how I kind of feel, if you will, as a kid, because like my bright knight was the animated series, was the Justice League Unlimited series, Static Shock, where Batman made his cameos, Batman Beyond.
Exactly.
But yet, my dark, dirty, gritty, realistic look into this world was through these movies. And like I said, I watched the second one before this one as a kid, and went back to it afterwards. Correct, yeah, The Dark Knight. And I don't want to say I didn't appreciate this one as much as The Dark Knight and Dark Knight Rises eventually when that came out too. But like, this was one that I didn't just watch a lot up until middle school. And when I hit middle school, dude, I had this weird phase where I watch the Dark Knight trilogy like once a week at least, including Begins. Like, I love these movies to death. I can almost quote them. It was ridiculous, dude. And during that phase is really when I like began respecting and loving these movies, and really understanding and valuing the significance of this first film, because of the actions of the third film. While The Dark Knight, of course, it is a sequel and leans on some themes and some plot points carried over from this first film, ultimately, the issue of Ra's al Ghul and all that's dealt with in the third film, as like speeding forward still. So to always have the look, you know, coming back on this one of paying a little bit of a closer look at Ra's al Ghul and Liam Neeson's performance and appreciating the upbringing of Bruce Wayne's training is something I really like doing when watching Batman Begins.
Yeah, me too.
I will say, though, while upon this rewatch, because it's probably been like 10 years since I have rewatched this, when Bruce Wayne, when he's back in Gotham for that little period when he's like back from Princeton and he's debating killing Joe Chill, he's such a little bitch, dude. Christian Bale gives a great performance as like just an insufferable little character until he actually goes through some shit and grows up and becomes a man and becomes the Batman, obviously. This one is a little odd for me too, because obviously there's this. I mean, we didn't really talk too much about it. Is Rachel the love interest in this film? She's not mentioned in the comics or anything else, and it's okay to have a character like that in these storylines in these films. In this, I don't know, man. She feels so much to me like a copy and paste of Mary Jane from the Raimi trilogy. Like,
you know what? You're right about that.
She always has to me, dude. Like, she just doesn't want to be with him because he is who he is, and like, but they'll be together one day. It's just so much like I'll keep you on the end of a leash kind of bullshit with the entire time.
It's like, I'll always be my maybe type bullshit, you know?
Yes, and I think that storyline is handled really, really well in Dark Knight.
I agree.
But of course, there is the recast that we see later on, and we get Maggie Gyllenhaal. I forget the actress who plays Rachel in this film, who I think is fine every time until I watch Dark Knight, and I'm like, wow, Maggie Gyllenhaal, despite me not loving her too much, she's great.
Maggie Gyllenhaal was one of the best parts of the Dark Knight.
I know.
Period.
I know, dude. That's what I'm saying. Like, because of that, I always look a little bit less on her performance in this film, a bit. But like, I think my biggest issue is
Katie Holmes. Katie Holmes was Rachel.
Well, I think that Rachel as a love interest works a lot in The Dark Knight, and I feel the loss of Bruce Wayne despite the recast, and I think that's a good thing to be able to feel that, because they look nothing alike in my opinion, the two actresses.
No, no, they don't.
I just don't feel the tension. I don't feel the oh shit moment, you know, like in The Dark Knight. And I hate to keep referencing the sequel as to why I have qualms with this first one. But I just want the audience to understand that, like, I did watch it in that order, at least.
Mm-hmm.
But in the sequel, like when you see Bruce is like, "Oh, you're dating Harvey now, Harvey Dent," and you see like the nuances, the subtleties that like, "Oh, this does affect him. He wasn't expecting this. He thought she was gonna wait." I don't get those moments from her with this one. Like when Bruce is walking out of like the hotel room after having the extravagant dinner with the two supermodels, and they just go for a swim, and he like bumps into them or bumps into Rachel as he's walking out, and he's like, "Oh, Rachel, went for a swim. What are you doing here?" I don't feel like a oh shit sexual tension kind of moment out of that. I don't know. As much as I love this movie, I just don't love Rachel in this. And it's really interesting to say that because it's just from looking at it from a series point of view. You know, I think she's fine enough. She's passable. She gives an okay performance in Batman Begins to where, like, I don't think anything of it. But then I get into this point where, like, after I watch Batman Begins, I want to watch The Dark Knight immediately after. You know, it's a great trilogy. It's like Back to the Future for me. You know, I can't just watch one of them. I got to go ahead and keep the train rolling. And because of that, I'm immediately then put in a situation where it's like, oh, there's Rachel. There's the other Rachel. You know? So I don't know. It's not as subtle to me as like a Judith Hogue and Paige, I forget her name, from Ninja Turtles from 1 and 2. You know, it's a really weird recast decision for me. But overall, I do love this movie. Love Jonathan Crane. We don't really need to talk much about Cillian Murphy in this as Jonathan Crane.
No.
And just a tank. He's in all 3 movies. He's one of the greatest castings we've had as a supervillain. Despite Ra's al Ghul and Liam Neeson's performance as Ra's al Ghul being just a whitewash iteration of Ra's al Ghul, Liam Neeson's great. And I think it's a shame how great Liam Neeson is. Because I think that if we had leaned into the culture, it would have been fine. Totally. I think it just would have worked with Liam Neeson. And they didn't need to have the sense to be able to remove aspects of League of Shadows, of culture. And just the race is just so odd to me, dude. You know what I'm saying?
Liam Neeson's Ducard, he's not Ra's al Ghul in this movie.
No, he's Ra's al Ghul, dude. That's the whole point.
No, he's not. He's not
dude.
Ra's al Ghul.
That's the entire point of it. It's the very end. He's revealed that the ball that's Ra's al Ghul. When Bruce is like, "Oh, you've been hiding your identity this whole time."
But see, I thought. Hold on, wait.
No, dude, they do the Phantom Menace thing. The guy you see, is a double. Yeah.
Yeah, that's okay. That makes sense. All right.
Yeah, so it's Ra's al Ghul, Ra's al Ghul, whatever the fuck you want to call him. That's Liam Neeson throughout this.
Okay. Yeah, because I remember it was Ken Watanabe.
Yeah.
I thought was Ra's al Ghul. Okay.
And then you see at the ball again, there's another guy that's going by the name, and then Bruce is like, "You're not him, I saw him die." Then Liam Neeson pulls up from the corner. He's like, "Oh shit, it's you." Point being, though, I think Liam Neeson's a great enough actor, genuinely. I just saw Naked Gun recently, love him in that still, too. I think you didn't have to whitewash him. I think you could have just had him, and it could have just worked. I don't understand the point of it. Looking back on Batman Begins, out of anything else from that series, it stands out the most because of that. As much as I love this movie, I just wish we had a bit more of authenticity with that character. So for me, this is a best spin on the way. It's just kind of a best spin, to be honest with you, dude. I wanted to be a best spin on the way to Coruscant, but the whitewashing thing does get me a little bit. Gotta be real with you.
Yeah. You know, personally, I didn't mind the whitewashing because it was a twist.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like, it's not coming out the woodwork saying, "Oh, this is Ra's al Ghul from the get-go." It's just it's a eventual reveal.
Mm-hmm.
And I didn't mind that because it actually, you know, kind of adds some sort of tension to what Bruce was going through at the time of his training. You know what I'm saying? He was just coming out of this facility where he was locked up in a completely different country, and you know, that was all about him just trying to restructure his life. You know what I'm saying? So it kind of adds a little bit more tension to that aspect of his life, and that's one of the reasons why I appreciate this movie so much and why it's my favorite Batman movie, because not only does it nail all the tropes of Batman, not only does it nail all the tropes of Gotham and how it felt and how Gotham feels, but I feel like the movie definitely succeeds in executing Bruce Wayne and Batman as a character.
I
You know,
agree.
I feel like he was an actual person in this movie. I feel like we were on this journey with him throughout. This movie really puts you in Bruce Wayne's shoes.
Hmm.
And I can't say that the only Batman movie that I can say that comes close to that is The Batman with Robert Pattinson.
Hmm.
That's the only movie in the series that I can say comes close to the portrayal and the execution of Bruce Wayne in this movie.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
I agree,
Other than
dude.
that, this is my favorite Batman movie. And you know, Batman is just such a complex character already. And it's one of the reasons why Batman is my favorite DC character. Not just because Batman himself is cool, you know, with the suit and the gadgets and him having a butler and everything, da 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 da, the Batmobile, da 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 da. Like him being aesthetically cool as a superhero is not just because of that, because he's an actual complex character. And Batman Begins brought that to the forefront,
Hmm.
and did it famously for me. So this movie is most definitely a Coruscant.
Okay, dude, I love to hear. I love to hear it. Let's go ahead and talk about our other reboot for the week, though. Diving back to James Bond. Like I said, for listeners, link down below if you want to hear our thoughts on the other episode we did on the rest of the James Bond series. For No Time to Die, that's the finale of it. If you're not familiar, check it out. Link down below. But if not, if you don't give a shit, then here we are talking about the first one of the series. Dakari, give us your recap on Casino Royale. Because you, thankfully, are like one of the only friends I have in general, dude, who like has this deep appreciation for the Bond films like I do. So give us your recap
Absolutely.
on this, dude.
Sure, man. So pretty much this film is literally this film takes place right at the time where James Bond is a newly hired 00 agent. He's not established or anything. This is not supposed to be a walk in the park for him already. This is something that he's just getting accustomed to. So he pretty much get, boom, here you go. Like this is where we're at. You know, this is the early stages of James Bond in this case, and I honestly appreciated that as, you know, this film being a reboot. So pretty much there's this terrorist group going around, and they're going around, of course, when you get a James Bond film, you're gonna go around different parts of the country and da 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 da.
Yeah, dude.
And pretty much this revolves around a banker to the world's terrorist called Le Chiffre. And he's scheduled to participate in this high stakes poker game where he intends to use his winnings to establish his financial grip on the terrorist market. So Bond is sent on his first mission as a 00 agent to attend this game and prevent Lashi from his schemes. And of course, with the help of his newly found love interest, um, they enter this poker game very blind. And next thing you know, they get into some shit and pretty much hell breaks loose. And that's the recap for Casino Royale.
Gotta love it, dude.
Hmm.
Yeah, dude, this is my first Bond movie, I believe, as a kid as well, too.
Okay.
Obviously, you know, kind of tying into this, if you aren't familiar, for our listeners, we're like 25, 23, 24, like we're all in our mid-20s, a Galaxy of Film. So yeah, this is the Bond we grew up with as well, arguably, you know, when it comes into what's releasing as we're growing up. Yeah, I don't know, man. Like, this is my first Bond movie, but it's not my favorite Bond. But, like, rewatching this one is always unique for me. To me,
Hmm.
the Bond franchise is most comparable to Godzilla. And I know that's
Hmm.
ridiculous, but hear me out. There's like 20 or
Oh,
30
that's
for
fair.
each franchise, you know. It's also like a really niche fan base, you know. Like people are usually like a Bond fan. They don't like just one movie or so. Do you like it or you don't, and you kind of just get invested. And the Godzilla movies are kind of the same, in my opinion. So for me, this was always the
Yeah.
thing I considered to be like my Godzilla growing up. So yeah, Casino Royale started that for me, watching this with my aunt and uncle at a young age. And rewatching this, I will go ahead and say I totally forgot of the torture device, the chair, That scene is fucking nuts. I had to take a picture of that frame and send it to my uncle.
Literally, it's nuts. Literally nuts.
Yeah, dude. I sent a picture of that to my uncle because I used to be a joke farce for like 5 years straight. It was awful.
Man. Man.
Yeah, when it comes to the Bond movies as well, like these are huge spectacles to me in terms of how these movies are made, and I feel like I can really turn my brain off and admire the spectacle that it is. The locations, the stunts, the music, the performances, sometimes even the casting when you get to some of the older films, even the newer ones like Ana de Armas, for No Time to Die, and it's an honor to be in these films. You know, it's when you can get a good casting kind of bit, everyone seems to give it their all because it's the series is a legacy. You know,
exactly.
But at the end of the day, these movies just represent pure movie magic for me. Throughout all the different generations of Bond, which is awesome. And these Daniel Craig movies specifically are very much more like the action, kind of like the Bourne Identity kind of like style, rush and gun kind of feel to it compared to the typical wide, meandering campiness we've gotten from the other James Bond bits. Where, yes, 007 James Bond is still a spy, you know, but he's not just playing and relying on stealth anymore. Like, he'll go in guns a-blazing in this series, which is something you don't really see in the other ones. I know in the 90s with Pierce Brosnan, we get a bit more action-packed, of course, of GoldenEye and stuff. But nothing to this level. Like, the opening scene of this, the chase through, like, what was it, Jamaica or something? Like, whatever, like, island they're at. Madagascar, thank you. When they're running through Madagascar and, like, Bond has to shoot the propane tank to blow everything up. That's crazy, dude. We don't get to see moments like that in the old stuff, which is awesome. But yeah, I don't know, because it's like that spectacle for me, and I have that kind of like, oh, I can just admire everything going on. Some of the Bond movies very much bleed over for me because of that reason, dude. And because there's 25, 26 of them now too. And Casino Royale is unfortunately no exception to that. The Craig movies do bleed over a little bit for me. Like, I know I like Casino Royale. I know Quantum of Solace is very meh. I know Skyfall is a masterpiece. I know Spectre's good. And I know No Time to Die is good. But, like, if you asked me to quote a single one of those, other than maybe Skyfall, I couldn't for you. You know, if you showed me a single frame, unless it's, like, the moment from the trailer or the scene, like, ever show me like the Day of the Dead parade from the Spectre movie, of course I can recognize that, you know. But this movie does bleed over a little bit. It doesn't stand out too much in the entirety of the rest of the saga of Daniel Craig. But one thing I do like a lot about his performance as Bond, especially, and we do get to see it not only start in this film, but I think really well in this film too, is seeing the human side of Bond. We constantly are seeing throughout 20 movies at this point in time, or 19 movies, that James Bond is a character. And we're not seeing the emotion that is being, like, that comes through the actor, necessarily. Like, you know, like, the actor at the end of the day is a vessel for this character coming to life. And while we may get good performances, and they may be fun, or tongue-in-cheek or whatever, I'm not seeing the actor bleed so much into the performance of Bond. And the only one I see that with is Daniel Craig. I love seeing the human side of him. The scene where he's comforting, I forget her name, the Bond, or Eva Green, when she's comforting her in the shower as she's like breaking down, and we finally have this moment where like the billionaire playboy, if you will, is finally not trying to like get in her pants, and from a franchise point of view, where that's the character's like tropes as being this, you know, suave British spy playboy, like he has a new woman every movie. To see that kind of character development, it's very small in this one film. And if you've only seen Casino Royale, you may not really appreciate that moment, to be honest with you. That's fine. But as a fan, as someone who has gone back and watched the other ones and returns to this one, it is really refreshing to see Bond have those kind of moments and have that maturity and to be human and to be not just this kind of like toxic masculine, like this image of what a man should be or what Bond should be, but truly what it is. That's really cool to see come out in this film. And I love that scene, especially in Casino Royale. Obviously, like I mentioned, the chair is a great moment too. It's God fucking damn. That is, I would not want to be in anyone's basement locked up, and that's how they get me.
Oh man,
But my last, my last notes I'll go ahead and say before I give my ratings on Casino Royale. I love the ending on this, dude. It's just the coolest ending. Genuinely, I think the ending of Casino Royale and Batman Begins line up both perfectly. And those are the moments where, for each movie, each character is when they get to claim their title, claim their spot, and truly become both Batman and both Bond, James Bond. It's so cool. For me, Casino Royale, this one is going to be a Naboo on the way to Bespin. Probably hasn't aged as much as well as I'd like it to compared to the other Bond ones. But it holds up really, really well, and I do really still like this movie. I like some of the ones more, to be honest with you. Still, I do, and I think it's a good thing in a franchise where we're dealing with 25. If your first movie in your series is your best one, you're doing something wrong. And I think that's definitely the case with the Craig films. Let me hear your thoughts on this one, Dakari.
Well, this is a movie I've been a James Bond fan since I was maybe 5, 6 years old. So, watching these movies are always a privilege to me for sure. So going back and revisiting Casino Royale, I felt like I needed to revisit this because I felt like there was parts that I may have been missing from it, and I wouldn't say there was parts that I missed, but there's parts that I appreciate a lot more than I did the first few times watching it. The fact that this movie, is exactly what it is. It's a reboot. It doesn't try to be exactly like what we've seen before in other films. It doesn't try to tell the same exact stories. It doesn't try to relive the same tropes. It's a reboot through and through, while still maintaining the iconography that the James Bond franchise is already known for. And the thing that it did successfully with this movie was make this, not just the environment but the character, feel more akin to Ian Fleming's original incarnation of it.
Yes.
Because James Bond is indeed more of a natural born killer in these films rather than, him being a smooth kind of suave type character in the older movies. You know what I'm saying? I think the only actor that comes close to that portrayal is Timothy Dalton, because you really get that all the way in License to Kill. License to Kill, to this day, I think is the darkest James Bond movie. Like, to date, it's the most violent, it's the darkest one, it's the most serious one. Like, it is balls to the wall vengeance and just remorseless. You know what I'm saying? And I feel like Daniel Craig's portrayal is the closest to that we've ever gotten. While still carrying some of the smooth, suave tropes that we've known, but it's more so the Ian Fleming incarnation. And I really appreciated that about Daniel Craig and his portrayal. Honestly, I think this might be my favorite Daniel Craig film besides Skyfall.
Okay, I was about to say.
Besides Skyfall, this is my favorite Daniel Craig film. And that says a lot because Sean Connery is my favorite on-screen Bond.
Okay.
I'll tell you right now, Goldfinger is my favorite James Bond movie of all time.
I'm in the same boat with you. I love Goldfinger, dude. It's a masterpiece.
Yeah, that's literally, that movie set the standard for what Bond films should be, right? So I feel like because movies like Casino Royale and Skyfall really come close to that because they're both establishing something unfamiliar to people who are fans of espionage thrillers and spy thrillers. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
And this movie does a lot with James Bond as a character. You know what I'm saying? We get Judi Dench back as M from the Pierce Brosnan movies. I know it was a little bit controversial when they first announced it in the 90s for Pierce Brosnan, but honestly, Judi Dench, I think, is the best actor to play M.
I agree.
And I love Bernard and I love Bernard Lee in the older movies, but Judi Dench's M, she just has an edge. She just brings an edge to the character that I don't think anyone else has.
She to me
Just
feels like the Viola Davis to Amanda Waller, honestly.
yeah,
You
yeah,
know.
I agree. Like, and the chemistry that she and Daniel Craig has is by far some of the most magnetic that I've seen, in the franchise for sure. You know,
Mm-hmm. And that's why
it
Skyfall works to be to that point right there.
exactly,
That's the only reason that works.
exactly,
Mm.
right. So like, it's not, and I don't just love this movie because it did its job in reaffirming the character to be this iconic and legendary character, but it added some really, really intense stakes around his world. It really built up the stakes and anteed up the volume a little bit when it comes to um, what his profession is truly about. Having a minimal level of trust is what really carries this movie. And there's certain things that happen in the film that just kind of reaffirms that, not just for the audience, but for Bond. You know what I'm saying? Being
Mm-hmm.
that this is his first mission as a double O agent, not only is he learning this simultaneously, but he is succumbing to it.
Yeah.
He becomes numb to it, you know what I'm saying? And that's why I really feel like the relationship between him and Bond girl Vesper Lynn is one of the best in the series, because it reaffirms Bond as the character that we've known him to be this whole time. It reinforces that natural born killer essence to him that we haven't seen in a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Since Timothy Dalton movies, you know what I'm saying? And being a fan of this franchise and of this character, that is something that I appreciated so about this movie. Um, it's not just the banter that he has with Vesper in this movie, which, my God, Vesper and Eva Green and Craig in this movie are so good.
Mm-hmm.
They are so good in this movie. They sold the romance to a T. Like, I was invested throughout. The breakdown scene in the shower is honestly one of the best moments in the franchise for me, because, you know, without revealing the twist, you can tell that the job has definitely taken a toll on her throughout.
Mm-hmm.
And James Bond is the only character that could relate to her in a sense, because this is his first mission as a double O agent. So seeing that was very significant for me. There was a lot of this is the first this is the first time we actually see Bond get vulnerable, like this the moment where he's in the mirror after he killed Lashif's um those aren't his hitmen. Those are the people that he was supposed to be doing deals with. Like, they catch up to him, and afterwards he has a moment to himself where he's in the bathroom in the mirror and he takes a big gulp of that scotch and he's just looking. He's just like, damn, what the fuck am I doing? You know what I'm saying? It's almost like he has an existential crisis throughout the film. And I love the fact that Lashif is not your regular James Bond villain. He owes people money. He's a money launderer. He doesn't know what the fuck he's doing, so he's holding a high stakes poker game so he can cover his own ass.
Yeah.
And I feel like that adds a little bit of ground to the environment for James Bond. You know what I'm saying? It gives a little bit more relatability and vulnerability. This movie works on so many levels. If Goldfinger's number one for me, Casino Royale is number two out of all the James Bond movies that I've seen. This is definitely a close second for me. This movie just does everything right, not just as a James Bond movie for me, but as a reboot to the franchise to get people acclimated to who James Bond is, not just who he was, but who he actually is. And I always appreciate this movie in that regard. It just does a lot right, and it's a movie I have no problem rewatching to this very day. 100%.
Okay, dude, I love to hear it. Holy shit, I didn't realize it was that high for you. So, what would your final rating for it then?
Coruscant.
I got you. Okay.
Yeah, easily one of my all-time favorite, not just movies, but favorite James Bond movies. Period. Like Goldfinger, Casino Royale. I'm thinking of GoldenEye. Fuck you. I love GoldenEye. Fuck you.
I know. I wish I liked GoldenEye. I wish I did.
I love GoldenEye, bro. I don't understand how as a Bond fan you can't just enjoy that movie. Like GoldenEye is just so good. License to Kill is up there for me. Um, I want to say Doctor No. Um, On Her Majesty's Secret Service is very underrated. I don't know, like I don't hear a lot of people talk about On Her Majesty's Secret Service a lot. That's the only movie George Lazenby did as James Bond, and in my opinion, that movie is possibly the most underrated in the franchise. I love that movie. I'm trying to think. Out of the Roger Moore movies, he's not my favorite Bond, but I really like The Spy Who Loved Me. I really like Live and Let Die. Um, I can't think of any other movies I like from his except for those. I mean, I'm not really a big fan of his movies. I don't mind Roger Moore.
Mm.
His James Bond movies just aren't that great to me. You
No, I
know, like
understand
because
that.
he's more on the comedic side. Timothy Dalton, of course, License to Kill, Pierce Brosnan in GoldenEye, and Daniel Craig, Casino Royale, Skyfall. Like those are some of my favorites I can list off the top. Um, yeah, I really, really love this movie. I really, really love this movie. It's one of those James Bond movies that I have absolutely no problem rewatching. Um, and speaking of On Her Majesty's Secret Service, I like how they reference that and have that be a big point of reference in No Time to Die, which is one of the reasons why I really appreciate No Time to Die.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah,
All right, dude. I love to hear it. Hell yeah, man.
yeah, man.
We need to
Yeah,
talk
man.
more Bond at some point. I'm surprised it's taken us this long to cover more of them. But
I agree. I haven't seen all of them yet. I've seen like a good bit of them. I've seen most of. I've seen like the first. I've seen most of Connery's movies. I've seen the first three, and I've seen. I know a lot of people ain't gonna say it. Never say never again, but that's still a James Bond movie, even though it's unofficial. Um, I haven't seen all of Roger Moore's films, but I have seen a good bit of them. Live and Let Die. Jeffrey Holder, my cousin, actually plays Baron Samedi in that movie, which is awesome. Um, yeah, when you watch Live and Let Die, you recognize him.
mhm.
Uh, yeah, I've seen. Yeah, I haven't really seen every single last James Bond movie. I haven't even seen all of Pierce Brosnan's, but I'm open to watching the ones I have not seen, of course.
Yeah, dude, we'll cover them all at some point, maybe. I don't know. We still got to
Hmm.
cover Star Wars first. We've been working on that for years.
Exactly. And also, you said you compare the Bond franchise to the likes of Godzilla. Well, I would compare this franchise to the likes of the Zatoichi franchise.
Okay.
I'm not sure if you're familiar with the Zatoichi
I'm
franchise,
not.
but Zatoichi is the Blind Swordsman.
Oh, okay.
Um, the Blind Swordsman is one of the most popular franchises in Japanese film history. I think it has like the original run from the 60s and 70s has at least 25 films, and then it's been rebooted a couple more times. So it has almost 30 films, but the original franchise from the 60s to the 70s had about 25 films.
Okay, gotcha. Didn't even know that, dude. Shit. That's a
Yeah.
lot.
Yeah, man. I still gotta watch a lot of those. I haven't seen, of course, I haven't seen all of the Toichi movies, but there's actually 26 movies. There's 26 movies. So yeah, I gotta watch all of those. But I've seen some of them, and they're all of them are really cool that I've seen. Zatoichi's such a cool character. You gotta check it out.
Absolutely, dude. Other things we're going to be
Hmm.
checking out soon, dude. Next week, of course, we're discussing Nobody 2 and then also Ballerina, the John Wick spinoff. Because it's been a while since we talked some John Wick. We've, of course, already
Hmm.
discussed all 4 films back in season, 3, I think, of the podcast. Maybe season 2. I forget, dude.
Hmm.
It's been a minute. But, Dakari, I think I'm just going to go ahead and wrap it up this week for our great Reboots episode to start off season 4. Do you have anything else you want to go ahead and leave with our audience for the rest of this week?
Uh, yeah. Stay tuned for more.
Only the best here at Galaxy of Film, dude. For our listeners, stay tuned for next week. Like I said, Nobody 2 and Ballerina coming back up for some more action-packed thrillers, some more modern American cinema going on for you guys. I was awesome talking about some great reboots. Stay tuned. We got plenty more this season. A lot more coming as well over on our YouTube channel for our short films, our interviews of GalaxyCon members as well. So stay tuned, guys. A lot coming on. Make sure to go ahead and follow us on Instagram, Twitter, or excuse me, not Twitter, Blue Sky, Threads, all of the social medias. For Sundays, for our podcast polls, if you want to go ahead and have your thoughts read out loud on the podcast, we can go ahead and talk about them. So Sundays for those guys, and stay tuned for next Thursday at noon for more Galaxy of Film. If you enjoy the show, please consider leaving us an iTunes or Spotify review. It truly does help the show much more than you can imagine. And we'll talk to you guys next week. Bye, guys.
You can find all our other podcast, original films, articles, and music on our website, galaxyoffilm.com. We're also on Instagram, Threads, Blue Sky, Facebook, YouTube, Spotify, iTunes, and you can join our Patreon for exclusive content and our Facebook fan club for early access to our films.